Elevation Nation, what is up? Elevation Nation, what is up? Happy Fortitude in 15 Thursday. Back like we never left. We had an incredible podcast episode with Kai McKinney this week. It got dropped on Tuesday. If you did not have a chance to check that out, Kai is pretty remarkable. Started a ton of companies, a serial entrepreneur, and he's not even 25? I think he's like 25.
Yeah, maybe even younger.
Younger than that. So check it out if you want to be inspired on how to go after amazing things in life and take risks and bet on yourself. Great episode, an even better person. But today, we get to talk to you, just me, Parker, our microphones, and talk about something that I think is really important, a skill and a respect thing that you learn as you get older and busier, which is the value of your time and the value of someone else's time. So I think that's an interesting topic to talk about for young adults. As you get older, your time becomes more and more valuable and you have less and less of it. So how do you not only value your own time, but the time of other people? And I'll start with a quick example that I tend to do a lot. Parker and I will set up a time to do something. We're going to start this at 6 o'clock, for example. Start recording this podcast.
This podcast in particular. Yeah.
And I was 15 minutes late. So in the concept of honoring people's time, there are a few ways you can go about that.
Well, first of all, you were 15 minutes late, which is fine. I totally get it. Things come up. But I was sitting there for 15 minutes, and that's fine. I did other things. So I fortituded myself for 15 minutes before the fortitude in 15 even happened. I just need to put that out there, Sammy.
Is there a point? Is there a reason you put that out there?
I'm just saying I was putting it out there because, I was sitting around. We had planned for this specific time. Granted, things come up, but, my time is valuable. Your time's valuable. So I'm just putting that out there, Maybe this is getting to the point you're trying to make.
It is.
Oh, nice.
All right, back to my point.
Back to your point.
So instead of just making Parker sit there and wait and wait and wait, I texted him twice and called him and said, hey, I'm running late. I'm so sorry I'm running late. I need at least 5-10 minutes. Then I needed more than that. I needed another 5 minutes. And I let him know. So it's these little things that you can do. You're not always going to be on time for everything. It's things that are going to come up that might need to take priority or be urgent. But it's how you communicate to the people that you're also valuing their time to show that you care, right? And so Parker may have been sitting there fortituding, but at least he wasn't sitting there staring at a screen. He knew that I was going to be late, and he could refocus his time and energy for the 15 minutes while he was waiting on something else. And so my point with that story is things come up. You're not always going to be perfect and always going to be on time, but take the inconvenience of you reaching out and texting or calling someone to make sure to show that you're valuing their time. I think it's something that is done amongst peers much more than like bosses to coworkers. Parker, I know we're on work calls all the time. We're sitting there. We have no update, and you have to ping someone or check in or send them a note, see when they're going to show up. So one thing that I recommend all elevators when you're going into a professional work environment is, one, do your best to always be on time, but life happens. We get it. So then just make sure you communicate to other people that you're running late so that you show you care about them and their time. It's important.
Even worse is when someone says they want to get some time or want to meet or hang out or chat or catch up, and they're like, oh yeah, let's set a time up. Like it's even worse when that person is reaching out and you're trying to set the time up. Oh great, yeah, I'm free this time, and then you don't hear from them for a certain amount of time. That's just really frustrating, I think, Sam, at times. And to be honest, I'm really, this has happened to me a couple times in the last, couple months or so. And it's been frustrating for me because it's like I'm sitting there and I'm like, I want to connect with this individual. I want to meet them. I want to learn from them. I want to hear what's up, about them. But at the same time, I can't really do anything if they're not responding or they're not also holding their end of the stick. It's funny because they're the ones who reached out in the first place. I'm like, yeah, these are the times I'm available, and then you just are waiting 2 weeks, and then it's like it's like the never-ending phone tag. And so I think that's pretty frustrating. given that, Sam, we're connecting with a lot of people and, we're very busy too. But I from what you're saying, I've learned a lot about, we all think about like where our time are busy, but we got to be cognizant and understanding that people have their time and we got to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Everyone's moving a million miles an hour, but at the end of the day, it's like we can't control other people's calendars. Just we got to be respectful of it at least. That's where I think this conversation was going for me. I was like, respect of other people's time.
Okay. Love it. So some of the ways that you can respect other people's time, and this was a lesson I learned my first year in the working world, was, as you guys could probably tell, I love to network. Love to go out there and meet new people. So I set up a ton of coffee chats, 30 minutes, running in, hey, my name's Sam, I'm new to the company, would love to introduce myself and learn more about what you do. And 95% of people would respond and say, hey, you're young, you seem energetic, welcome to the firm, let me take you out to coffee, right? And I had dozens and dozens of virtual and in-person coffee meetings throughout my first year at the firm. And I had one meeting in particular where the guy was respectful. I asked first, can I put time on your calendar? He said, sure. He had to move it around a couple times. We finally got together. He said, hey, don't have time for coffee. Just swing by my office. And so it was hard to lock him down. I was excited. I finally got time with him, ran into his office, and we started chatting. And he said, this is great. I mean, you seem like you got good energy. I'm glad you learned a little bit about more about what I do. Now what? And I said, well, what do you mean? I wanted you to know who I was. I wanted to introduce myself. And he said, well, you just took 20 minutes of my time from me. Now what? What are you going to do? And he said, let me teach you a big piece of advice that I learned when I started. If you ever ask for time, ask for coffee, ask for anything, you are taking people's money. You are taking people's time. Whether you like it or not, whether you're getting mentored or not, whether you appreciate it or not, that's time they could have been spending with their families, working on other things, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So it's never free.
Never free.
And so he said, what are you going to offer me?
He said that?
Well, I just joined EY. I don't have anything to offer you. I don't have any skills. I don't know anything. And he said, that's not true. At the end of every conversation, if anyone ever gives you time, always offer, how can I help you? I know I might not have experience, but is there anything I can assist you with? Not only will that make you seem like you're legit in your reasoning to want to meet with that person, show that you're taking initiative, but to the theme of this episode, it shows that you respected their time, right? They traded time for you, so the least you can do is give them a little bit of time back, whether it's helping them on a proposal, helping them organize their desk, running and grabbing them a coffee, whatever it may be that they're looking for in that moment. Always offer. Most of the time, they're not going to take you up on it. But it's the offer that counts, and it shows that you were serious and you were appreciative of the time that they gave you. And so that was a really valuable lesson that I learned my first year, and it's something I now look for. When young people reach out to me through Elevation Nation or through my full-time job and ask for mentorship or time or knowledge or to meet me, one, it's flattering, and I love mentoring people, but I always notice the ones that at the end say, can I help you with anything? What are you going through? What do you need right now? That shows that you value and respect their time.
Yeah, but at the same time, you need to remember that if you offer someone like your time or you're like, hey, what do you need from me? You're opening up definitely a door that they could be like, oh, yeah, I need this. Do you have time for this? And then you just need to be cautious that you are opening that door up. I agree with you that it's a two-way street. If the focus of the conversation is all about you and your growth and getting to know that person, you should be like, hey, how can I help you? But I also think you need to have some guard up, because what if that person's like, yeah, I need you to help me, I want you, or are you curious and supporting me on this or helping with that? Like, then, Sam, to your point, you're having 20 networking meetings a month. It sounds like a lot of extra things that you're doing for other people on top of everything else that you need to do for yourself or your job. So I'm with you. I mean, I like that because it is a two-way street. Even if the whole conversation's about, helping Sam, and like that partner or that person is, there to help you. Like, it's as simple as asking the question, and maybe they're just like, oh, what's your perspective on this? And that's it. That's as simple as it. But I do think it's like you're still adding that element of you're not just taking, you're giving. And I'm a big proponent of that. Give and Take, the book by Adam Grant. Highly recommend it. It talks all about this concept that Sam is breaking down for us. That's one of my favorite business books out there. Give and Take by Adam Grant. So highly recommend that. It's the givers who end up winning in the long run. That's I think the big theme of the book.
Love it. So respect other people's time. Have respect for your own time. Make sure to communicate when it comes to people's time and offer something. You never know what that could turn into. All right, let's do some elevator shout outs. I have an elevator shout out to elevator number 76, Sarah Figueroa. Her company, GeoJam, just partnered with a company that I know called WME. Huge entertainment media conglomerate organization, helps manage a lot of talent in New York and LA, and they partnered with Sarah's company, GeoJam, and that's really, really cool to me. And congratulations to WME and Sarah and the folks at GeoJam for this huge accomplishment. We are super proud of you guys.
She's always doing new things that are absolutely crushing. I feel like we need to have her back on the podcast and just hear about all this other stuff that's happening in the world of GeoJam. My elevator shout out is for elevators number 98, 97, and 99. So 97, 98, 99. Yes, I know how to count Elevation Nation. It's just in our directory backwards. James Dovrak, Pat Murtaugh, Tyler Kozub, the three boys from Handshake Bets. Man, those guys have a story. They are crushing it. Full-time influencers. They're full-time crushing it. They just moved from their pad in Chicago down to the beachy, hot place in Miami, Florida, and they are all in on Handshake Bets and Better, the Jake Paul run company, and I think that sky's the limit for these guys. They're full on in the content game, and they're funny. They're fun. They're engaging. So check them out. Great elevators. I can't wait to have those guys back on too. Talk about from where we first first had the conversation with them. That was cool, Sam. There's so many guys we have them on, or girls, have them on, and then we could bring them back. They elevated in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
It's pretty remarkable. They're crushing it too. Really proud of the better guys, James, Pat, and Little Kozub. We love you guys. All right, Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace.